let's continue getting reaction now, is mixed reaction, as it were, to President Ramaphosa's focus, SONA, as well as his focus on the electricity crisis. South Africa has experienced the worst ever rolling blackouts on record these past few months. The ongoing and devastating impact of the power cuts, as we just heard from Nkobile there, have been felt in many sectors. Some, however, have questioned the decision to declare a national state of disaster. Let's discuss further now with energy analyst Willie Cronje, who joins us virtually from here in a rainy and wet Johannesburg. Willie, thanks for your time this afternoon. Raised eyebrows, I feel, across the board to the announcement of the state of disaster, but it wasn't a complete surprise, was it? We had heard rumblings about a potential state of disaster over the coming weeks leading up to SONA, but a lot of doubts because of our experience with the state of disaster declared as a result of COVID. And we all know what happened there as we continue to hear from the SIU on how they're trying to get to the bottom of the mess created there. What is your reaction? What are you hearing on the ground in reaction to the announcement of that state of disaster to deal with the energy crisis?
Yeah, I think what we hear is that people are extremely skeptical that this will have any positive effect. It doesn't really garner any confidence in the circles that I listen and where I hear and where we discuss. We are all very, very pessimistic, rather, about that development, because it hasn't really been addressed in the past. So we don't think a state of disaster will actually make a material difference.
Well, you're certainly sounding very, very despondent. I mean, we heard from SAFTU and Zwelinzima Vavi saying, what can government do under the disaster regulations that it cannot do with the resources that they have right now?
No, exactly. That echoes exactly that sentiment, is that, yes, they've had all the levers and all the tools in the past, and in spite of that, they haven't actually used it correctly. So the new powers of a state of disaster, what else are they going to do? It is not clear how that will resolve the problems we're facing. There's been warnings for the last 20 years that we're heading in this direction. So it's not catching anybody by surprise that we now actually have the situation we find ourselves in. And there has never been positive corrective action to avoid the situation that we find ourselves in. So after more than 20 years of heading in this direction, a state of disaster is not going to resolve this in a short time.
Of course, one of the other big announcements is that there is going to be the creation of a new ministerial portfolio, a Minister of Electricity that will have a desk inside the presidency. It immediately raised many questions last night as the president was still speaking, saying, well, how is this all going to work? We've got public enterprises who looks after certain parts of the energy sector, as well as, of course, the Minister of Mineral Affairs and Energy. Where exactly would this Minister of Energy fit in? But we're told, just wait and see. The cabinet is going to be restructured or reshuffled. They're talking about reconfiguration of government entities, including ESCOM. It's really just caused more confusion, don't you think, than clarity that was needed?
I totally agree. It's like we used to have a ministry for energy in the broader sense, and that was then eventually pulled back into the Department of Minerals and Energy. So we've had ministers for that in the past, even not electricity per se, but for energy, which is the bigger challenge we're facing. Is it's all kinds of energy, liquid fuels, gas, and electricity. It's just different forms of energy. So it doesn't really inspire confidence to hear that they're going to spend more money on another minister with all the trappings that comes with that. And how is this actually going to change it on the ground for normal people? I don't really see that connection.
this entire afternoon, in fact, throughout the day, in getting reaction to the State of the Nation addresses, there's like a golden thread about a relationship of trust between corporate and business South Africa, ordinary members of the public and government. And when the President says, these are the things that we're going to do, we just heard ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula saying, we're starting a monitoring team that's going to be based at HQ to make sure that services are being delivered. Government entities are going to be reconfigured, and all of those plans now being laid out. Action is finally going to take place. And just listening to your tone, the despondency is quite tangible. What for you needs to be seen to be happening for that tone of voice to change as the country must be made to believe that government has got their back and they can actually be trusted to help fix the mess that is out there?
Yeah, we'll see if they actually implement smaller things, and it's constructive and it's consistent and not jeopardized along the way or the rug pulled from underneath. You know, these are long-term things. If you want to look at the energy architecture for the country or just the electricity supply, you are making decisions. Just to reflect on Modupi and Kusile. Those decisions were made like 2008. We're now several years down the line, and both of those are not fully operational, and we're aware of lots of problems. So maybe we should aim for smaller projects and just actually get them right, so that the public can regain their trust.
More focus on what's happening on the ground and not so much in different office bearers and what's happening up there. Thank you so much for that. That's energy analyst Willie Cronje joining us virtually from here in Johannesburg.